Welcome! Oh boy, it is so good to see you. This weekend I attended YOUtopia, which traditionally has been called the San Diego Decom, but you know, it's not a decom. A decompression is half or somewhat of a Burning Man experience and somewhat of a default world experience. So you're kind of in between two worlds, like in the airlock, adjusting to these two environments. And the reason why they do decoms is because to go from this Burning Man full-on living in the principles, living in this connection, this family connection, then going to a default world where it's so harsh at times, having a decom experience to kind of settle back into that old you, reconnect with the people, tell the stories, it can be very therapeutic. And so the decoms like San Francisco and LA are one-night street scene experiences where you dress up, you dress up at home, you go there, and you get into the zone of your Burning Man experience. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. The San Diego experience is an event, like lightning in a bottle, like Flipside, like many of these experiences like Lucidity. There's an upcoming one this weekend, Lunacy, which are actual events, which are that try to apply the principles full on. There's no vending at some of them. They really, the ones that I think are the magical ones are Flipside, which I haven't attended, but just from the stories, and YOUtopia, in that they fully embrace the Burning Man principle of Doacracy. If you want it to be awesome, make it awesome. If something's missing, you bring it. There's not this feeling of they're organizers. There's appreciation for the people that step up and do take on these major organizing roles. But there's not this feeling of like, oh man, they should have done this, or there should be more porta potties. It's more like, oh, I should go to meetings and offer suggestions and offer to help if I think there should be more blank. And the theme camps that show up are what makes it amazing. The organizers simply can create a structure, a framework of streets and porta potties and infrastructure so that the theme camps and the participants can make it magic. That's something that there's elements of that at LIB, but LIB is more of an event that's put on by the DULOB. It's magic, but it's different. You're an attendee, whereas the experiences that really light you up and help you find that you are this joy machine that put you into the real gifting role are the ones where you are a true participant, and the event really depends on that. Today's topic is being present, letting go of attachment, and finding the joy in the now. And the reason why that is on my mind is because of my journey to YOUtopia. I decided to take the Hugmobile this year. And if you are new to the Hugmobile is my 24-foot 1983 Winnebago that is painted pink with wings on the side. And while it is super duper beyond divine in its presence, it is challenged in its mechanics. And so the last two burns, it did not make it and had to get towed back. This last burn I didn't even try. I started with plan B. But the last many festivals that I've gone to where it's been longer than a 30-minute drive, it's gotten to this place of overheating, or something happens where it's in a hill and it kind of goes and then I have to pull over and wait an hour or longer to get it running again. And so I haven't been taking it to many things that are distant. LA Decom, it started doing that on the way home, but it made it. Bringing it to YOUtopia, I'm driving there, and I decided to drive and leave as early as I could when it would still be cool out, and hopefully get there before it got hot. So I left 8:30 in the morning. And actually, the first cool thing that happened was I pulled into a gas station. Somebody ran inside and was like, "Hey, how's it going? We're online friends. I see the Hugmobile. I'd love to introduce myself." We had this great long hug, and he's like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to somebody in my car. This is this amazing woman." And then she's like, "Oh, and I want to introduce you to somebody." And they introduced me to this gorgeous golden retriever dog that comes out. and it says, "This is Grace." And then Grace licked my face. And I was like, what an omen to start this weekend, kissed by Grace. Then I got in the car and was listening to a lecture by Jacob Glass, where the next 5 seconds later, the topic of the lecture was grace. I was like, thank you, universe, for being so clear. Just for that, I'm not going to use a wet nap on my face, and I will leave this dog slobber for symbolic reasons. So the Hugmobile has broken down twice on the way to this campground where I'm going to. And I've had to get it towed both times. But over time, I've realized the Hugmobile is not done when it reaches this state. It's just tired. It's like an old dog, you know, maybe takes a little bit longer to get it up the ramp into the back of the car, but it can do it if you're patient, if you've got enough love and patience. So this year I started early and broke down once. Pulled on the side of the road, saw somebody else that was broken down, so walked back to where they were, gave the car some time, got back in the car, hit the road. Well, actually, then I decided to wait for a while. I see them, they got fixed up and they passed me. I was like, oh, goodbye. Got back in the Hugmobile, drove for another few miles. By this time, I'm pretty close. I'm only, within 10 miles. Drive another 5 miles. It starts to get really steep. Pull over. Let it cool. I know that this is just the way things are. There was a time when I would be so frustrated because I'm so close. Come on. I want to be there. All my friends are there. But this time, I let go of the way I wanted it to be and simply embraced the way it was. So I pulled over, got out a trash bag, and started picking up trash on the side of the road. It is amazing how much trash can accumulate on the side of a road. Disappointing, I would say, in my fellow human being, but whatever. I will accept that as it is as well. So spent, about an hour picking up trash, filled up a full trash bag, got in the Hugmobile, started it up. At this point, it's like 3.8 miles to go. I can see on my map. Go for a mile, pull over again. Get out a trash bag, picking up trash. Do it again, pull again. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get there. It might be dark. It might take the entire day, but it's a beautiful day. And clearly, the universe wants me to pick up trash. So I will just do that and happily do that. I'm taking pictures of me, going, clearly Grandpa still wants to teach me more lessons about surrender because I'm broken down again. But really was doing a really good job of just saying, this is the way it is. What's my choice here? Be angry at reality? Byron Katie has taught me over and over again, love reality. How do you know that you're supposed to be wet because it's raining on you? How do you know that the car is supposed to break down and you're supposed to be picking up trash because you're there? Third time I broke down, the sheriff stopped. And the guy gets out of the car and he looks right out of Central Casting. He's got a mustache, he's good looking, he's like a foot taller than me. He's probably 33 years old. He's like, everything okay here? I'm like, oh yeah, just fine. Just taking my time, having to cool off. It's all good. He's like, you can't leave your car here. I'm like, oh, it's going to be fine. I'm going to make it. If not, I've got AAA. I can, everything's going to be fine, officer. And he's like, so what's this Hug Nation? I'm like, oh, and because I'm somewhat smart, I know what areas to focus on. I don't say, oh man, it's this love fest. It's all about plur and unity. Instead, I just go, oh, well, my grandfather was a minister, and he and I used to do this broadcast, and, I go from there. And he's like, well, it's good to respect your elders, that's important. So you make money doing that? I'm like, well, I'm working on it. I'd like to. I'm kind of, I do some consulting, but really I'd like to get to a place where I'm doing more of it as a job. I actually did this really big talk, and I gave him a sticker that had a link to my TEDx talk, hoping that he would recognize that, but it didn't seem like he was aware of a TEDx talk. And then he's like, you're going to have to face reality, grow up and get a real job sometime. I'm like, well, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah. And he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, 41. And he goes, well, reality's going to be important. And I was just like, I so get that you want to give me a lesson and you're the cop. And so I will say, yes, you're right. But this might be a situation where you can just say, okay, you're good. All right. Be on your way. The good thing was, he took my license too and ran it too. He's like, am I going to find any warrants out for you? I'm like, no, sir. No, I was clean, sober. I'd done nothing wrong. So I was very comfortable and confident being like, sir, there's, I appreciate you stopping, but I'm good. You can protect and serve someone else. Still, like 30 minutes later, he finally gives me my ID back and says, well, make sure you don't leave the car here. And then he went on his way. I think he did put a report in because there were cops that went by back and forth and no one else stopped me there. Or maybe they just saw me picking up trash and realized, well, our community could use a little pickup, even if it's from a guy that looks like a circus freak. So I can see my map. I'm 1.6 miles away. One more, and I get over the dump, and I make it to the event. Only, 7 hours after I started. It's like a 1.5 hour drive if you have a car that is functional. But I made it. And I had no anger, no frustration. And it was because from the get-go, it's like, I don't have an attachment. I'm going to get there when I get there. I tell people all the time that, if you don't have the attraction to join a monastery or study Zen Buddhism, get an old RV. Because the first time it breaks down, you're like, no, I should have. Second time, you're like, grr. Third time, you're like, oh. Seventh time, you're all, oh, really? And the 10th time, you're like, I will arrive when I arrive. Zoom, 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 zoom. Yes, officer, all is well. So I felt like I was deep in that zone and that lesson and got to the event exactly when I was supposed to. And then had an amazing time to start this journey with a kiss from grace, and then this profound lesson of surrender and being present was perfect. Nothing was wrong with my journey. It was exactly how it was supposed to be. How do I know? Because that's how it went. The Hugmobile is actually having some struggles. This weekend, the front hood kind of went and one of the hinges fell off. The inside air conditioning plastic is starting to just like crumble. The AC cover on the top is starting to crumble. All sorts of pieces are falling off. It's really, I've never had a dog, but I have seen my parents and other friends go through the final stages with an old dog, and that kind of patience that you have to have when it can't walk much, but you still love it so much, and you want to spend as much time as you can with this beautiful part of your family. That's kind of how the phase that I think I'm in with the Hugmobile, and I can keep putting money into it, and I keep trying to replace things and keep it going, but I'm getting close to that talk that you have with the vet, where you got to decide. You're gonna have to make that decision of when at some point. Until I have to, I'm putting it off, but we're getting to that point. So let us have a Hug Nation hug. Wherever you are, whatever your now is, wherever your car is parked, whatever the cop said to you last time you were pulled over, grab yourself by the shoulders. And in this perfect now, we acknowledge the gift of this body, the gift of sensation, the gift of thought and awareness. We recognize that all of these things, sensation, thought, awareness, these are all the concepts, the feelings, the ideas, the thoughts that come through our awareness, that we are not passive recipients of these things, we are receiving them with choice, receiving them with a discipline that allows us to give all sorts of attention to the ones that bring us joy and allow them to dissipate and breeze right by to the ones that give us frustration. The thought that, oh man, this car is breaking down constantly, it's going to cost a fortune. Whew. The thought that I'm here exactly where I'm supposed to be. Let's sit in that one. Let's see what else is in this now. I can actually be useful to my community in the world by picking up some trash. I can smile. I can greet the people that stop. In all of our obstacles, it is only an obstacle if we believe that it is in the way of where we should be. Otherwise, it's just the task at hand. Always. Whether that's picking up a mess, whether that is waiting for someone, whether that is dealing with someone in your way, it's only in the way if you think you should be past that situation. Otherwise, it's simply a holy moment. It's a connection. It's a chance to be a messenger of love. Simply in the way you listen and smile and receive. And so let's just sit and smile and receive and allow this shared experience of many hearts opening, recalibrating, and letting the drum circle of our heartbeats get in tune, align us with our highest self, and pull us towards the path of love. Let's take 3 breaths together. In through the nose. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all Love Warriors, thank you for this now. Happy Hug Nation.